Samurai Jack, Season 5, Episode 1. Nostalgia. That's one word I can use to summarize this episode. I watched it without any knowledge pertaining to how good or bad it is. I was a complete blank slate, but believe me, I had a high standard for this and I was not disappointed. Just a quick summary of my experiences with the show. The first ever episode was released on my birthday, and I actually remember watching bits of that first episode. As most kids, I didn't follow the show chronologically, but I'd always watch it whenever I could. Unfortunately, I've forgotten a lot of the show because I haven't watched it for a while. However, I still remember characters like the Scotsman and the Guardian. Nevertheless, Samurai Jack still has a close connection to my past, and it's amazing that this show is revived. Now let's get into the episode. Right away, we are reminded of the futuristic world with these creatures who communicate through electrical signals emitted from antenna-like projections on their heads. They are fleeing from an attack but quickly become surrounded by robotic bugs. This scene reminded me of the third episode of Samurai Jack, where Jack is surrounded by robotic beetles while archaeologist dogs look on from inside a building. The title of that episode is The First Fight, and it's no coincidence that the first fight of the new season involves similar enemies. Jack first attacks with a rocket launcher, followed by a machine gun, and later on a pistol. He has a motorcycle and it's customized to have spikes come out of its tires. Jack then pulls out what appears to be a staff, which initially confused me because he went from firepower destruction to an Aikido weapon. But at the touch of a couple of buttons, the staff turns into a halberd on one end and emits electricity on the other. Now the camera shows Jack surrounded similarly to how he was in the first fight. By thinking about that third episode, stark contrasts become apparent between the Jack from back then and the Jack now. In that first fight, Jack's only weapon was his magical katana, but now he uses a myriad of weapons. Jack can fight at a distance with his weapons, and therefore doesn't leave himself vulnerable to injury. Although Jack was victorious in the first fight, he was still hit by many attacks. He also protects his whole body, even his face, by wearing armor. This is showing the dexterity of Jack as a fighter now. He's not reliant on simply one weapon. This is why I love Samurai Jack so much. The details. I love the scene where Jack stabs a robot, twists its wires in his halberd, and then proceeds to rip them out. The gory scene is followed by comedic relief when we see the family turning their eyes towards Jack in awe. Jack's mask is hit off, and he is immediately recognized. Now he must fight without head protection. Jack stabs a robot from the top, but his beard is gone. A simple mistake, and seeing it serves more as a confidence boost personally because I was able to notice it rather than a negative to the watching experience. Jack notes that it has been 50 years, but he does not age. Instantly I thought of his battle with the Guardian. After Jack's taken away by the pterodactyl, the portal shows an older Jack, which reveals that he will go through the portal sometime in the future. He's the one who's supposed to beat the Guardian. I'm sure the writers could rectify this by having Aku cause Jack to age, otherwise it's an unfortunate plot hole. Now this is where I realized that this show was on Adult Swim and not Cartoon Network. The birth scene followed by the 7 daughters being laid out in front of the statue of Aku is definitely eerie and uncomfortable to watch. The 7 daughters kind of remind me of the B&B corpse from MGS4. Except the 7 daughters were chosen from birth, but they all shared the same thing, traumatic childhood experiences. And they'll also be told to blame those experiences on Jack, as the B&B did on Solid Snake. We get back to Jack and we see him ignore smoke from the distance. It's obvious that an attack has occurred at that location to lure Jack out. This is because it has been 50 years of bounty hunters luring Jack out in an attempt to kill him and become rich, so Jack ignores it. It's odd because Jack has always been a great fighter and would usually defeat an enemy every episode. This foreshadows that something has happened to Jack in these last 50 years that makes him question his ability to fight and be victorious. Perhaps he is tired of failing to save others and thus avoids setting himself from failing again. As seen in past episodes, Jack has survivor's guilt. He knows that his family and friends are suffering and that he needs to get back to the past to save them. 50 years in the future has had a tremendously negative effect on him mentally. His body may not be weakened from age, but his mind is. The river scene exemplifies that. He sees his father, mother, and the rest of his people telling him that he is forgetting them and has abandoned his purpose. This mental trauma is difficult to watch and it only gets worse. It ends with the sight of a warrior on a horse. Jack shows fear at the sight of this warrior and reacts by riding off and further away from the smoke in the distance. It is nightfall, and Jack once again is faced with extreme hallucinations. His father appears with his arms nailed up like Jesus on the cross, telling him that they've been waiting for him for so long and that he never came back. Jack pleadingly tries to tell his father that Aku destroyed the way home, meaning that all portals to the past have been destroyed. The hallucination does not falter. His father tells him that he was the only one who could save them, but he forgot his purpose. The mental anguish continues and Jack once again sees the mysterious warrior. This time Jack screams at the sight of the warrior and now makes his way towards the smoke. The mysterious warrior is linked to Jack apparently losing his purpose. Perhaps this is foreshadowing that the mysterious warrior has bested Jack in battle and weakened his resolve considerably. The 7 daughters have grown a bit and we see how brutal their training is. One of the daughters is learning at a slower pace than the others and is seen as inferior and treated more harshly. She sees a beautiful view and is told that Aku created it. The trainer also reminds her that Jack is out there destroying everything. The trainers are strategically making the daughters to look at Jack as the cause for their traumatic upbringing. We learn that this daughter's name is Ashi. They are shown again at an older age and Ashi is still lagging behind her sisters. The trainer forces her to endure physical pain in a life or death situation. Ashi is able to pull herself up thanks to the adrenaline rush. These daughters are being molded to become ruthless killers. where they will be unaffected by physical and mental pain. Jack arrives at the village where he sees total destruction and meets Scaramouche, the Merciless, who claims to be Aku's most favorite assassin. Through a flashback, we learn that Jack lost his magical katana. This contributes to Jack's weakened resolve because without the katana, he cannot defeat Aku. Now we are left to ponder when and how Jack lost his katana. Scaramouche calls Aku by cell phone, which is quite comical. The women training the 7 daughters speak to Aku's statue, while Scaramouche is easily able to contact him directly. This poses the question, does Aku even know about the 7 daughters? Are the trainers just devout followers of Aku and have raised them as an offering? An important thing to note here is that Jack does not attack until he hears Aku's voice. Hearing the voice of his archenemy angers him and causes him to attack. The battle with Scaramouche didn't disappoint. Scaramouche is able to control his surroundings by playing music and forms a giant enemy using parts of the destroyed village. Jack is able to kill the giant thanks to the halberd end of his weapon, but once again Jack is faced with the hallucinations of his people suffering. These are not happiness-inducing scenes, but Scaramouche serves as comic relief. This episode really shows the complexity of Samurai Jack, how the show can seamlessly go from dark and sad moments to lighthearted ones. The creators have always used comic relief intelligently throughout the series, and this episode is a testament to that. Again, Jack sees the mysterious warrior in his hallucination. After seeing this, I've come to the conclusion that Jack has faced the mysterious warrior and was beaten badly. That mysterious warrior was also responsible for Jack losing his katana. Now Jack has associated the mysterious warrior with what he fears most. Failure. Failing to go back to the past and save the future. The hallucination of the mysterious warrior is a constant reminder of that. These hallucinations are not only mentally debilitating, but physically as well. Jack, not focusing on the battle, leaves himself vulnerable to attack. He has to stop these hallucinations somehow if he wants to beat the mysterious warrior and Aku. Jack's armor is adjustable as well. His shoulder plates are able to slide down and be used as shields. This was an awesome thing to see. Eventually Jack is able to defeat Scaramouche, and being the comical character that he is, Scaramouche continues to make funny remarks until his death. Afterwards, Jack takes Scaramouche's weapon. Note how Jack doesn't go back for his head armor. This is the slow recreation of the old and proud Jack. He is slowly building his resolve. He no longer wants to hide his face. Perhaps later on he will go back to wearing his famous white kimono. We are shown the 7 daughters training as adults and how they have become skilled fighters. Ashi, formerly the most inferior of the daughters, now appears to be superior to her sisters. The show teases us in the beginning that Ashi may become a good character, but after so much brainwashing and trauma, she has become a merciless killer. There is no doubt that she will be the last remaining daughter in the fight against Jack. The ending surprised me. It made me so happy. I felt so nostalgic watching that, and it's great that they included that. It's really a nod to all the people that have been watching Samurai Jack from the beginning. And the fact that they do that definitely got me hyped for the next episode, and definitely to see the opening song. I appreciate you guys watching this analysis if you watched it this far. This is the first one, obviously, and they only get better from here. I know maybe this wasn't the best thing to watch, but I'm still trying to find my voice, find my you know, my style and all that. And I'm gonna do this weekly. Every week I'm gonna be doing this. Hopefully upload it not on Mondays, hopefully on Sunday night at the latest, because it does take a while to get all the images, write down what I'm gonna say, and then edit it and put it up. It takes significant time, and it's just me doing it. There's not a team of people with me. So I'm glad you guys could bear with me there, and hopefully you guys can check in next week. Let me know what you guys think about everything I've said throughout this video. Do you agree with my predictions about the mysterious warrior? What do you guys think? And as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.